This video I'm going to show you a few more tricks and tips for masking something in Photopea or Photopea. In this demo I've created an 8.5 by 11 sheet and I've already uploaded two images. I have this old class photo of, I don't know, off the internet somewhere, and then I have a picture of Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian from the TV show. And what I'm planning on doing is I want to make it look like it's Baby Yoda's first day of school, right? So let's get started. First of all, what I want to do is I want to make sure that my, well, first of all, these two boxes are checked. These are really important for scaling and just ease of navigation in the document. So I'm going to enlarge this photo, and you'll notice that when I do this, it might get skinny or long or whatever. And the way to kind of mitigate this and make sure it doesn't do this, warp like this, just push shift. So as you're pushing shift, I'm pushing shift now, it'll stay the correct size. I'm just going to crank it all the way up to there until it fills the screen. And now we've lost the Mandalorian. I'll push enter, but now we've lost Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. So over here on the layers panel, there are my two images. So I just want to put the class photo underneath so that we can see the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda again. All right. So what we're going to be doing is we're mostly going to be working with this layer here. And if you really want to, you can also hide the background layer just by pushing the eyeball button. Okay, so there's a few different tools that we can use to cut out the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda here. I'm just going to zoom in so we can see a little better. A good way to zoom is just by pushing the Alt button and scrolling either on your mouse or on your trackpad. And this will help you get a little closer and be a little easier to move around. All right, so the first tool that I want to look at when selecting an object, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be selecting this guy and then cutting him out. It's really a bad idea generally to use the eraser tool. The eraser tool, it's destructive. Something popped up here. You might have something like this pop up sometime in your course of your editing. What we want to do is, it's a smart object right now. The reason we know it's a smart object was, one, it told us, and two, there's a little box on our on the layers panel here. That means it's a smart object. You can kind of see it on both of these. Smart objects, you can scale them up and down, and it won't be destructive. It won't break the image. If you scale it up a whole bunch of times, it's going to really lose raster, or it's going to lose definition really quickly. So if that pops up, so let's say I want to do this, you can either push OK, or if you want to do it manually, you just right click on here, whoops, and right here rasterize, and that basically locks our pixels. Now we can edit this image. So like I was saying, an eraser, yeah, you can do it, but if you kind of like screw up, you can't bring this back. I can't paint this back in. And you'll see with masking that is going to be really, that's the magic of masking. So I'm just going to undo that. Don't use the eraser. Eraser is, it's not the best. The first tool I want to show you is the Lasso Tool. If you click on it, there's click and hold. There'll be three different tools that you can use. So the first one, just a straight up lasso tool, is you can basically kind of like go around and really carefully with your mouse get as close as you can, and when you're done, it'll basically like fill in. If say I do something like this, I let go, it'll automatically make a straight line to the starting point. Right, so it shoots across like that. Push Control D to deselect anytime that you have something you want deselected. So this is good for if you have a really steady hand and you can kind of get through very carefully, you can probably do some good work with it. But it's probably not the best tool unless you have a stylus. If you have a tablet or something at home that you can use, it's really good. But many of us don't have styluses and tablets, so might not be the best idea. There's another way you could do it is if you're using, you can do an additive stuff. See this up here at the top here? What this means is there's you can essentially add to it. So if you did little sections at a time, it might work all right. Right, so see how it's adding. The normal one is you will just make a new selection every time you click. So unless you push the add button, or if you have this selected and you can push shift and it will add to it. So you can just click and hold shift in order to do that. But if you're doing a lot, I would just change it to this. There's a few others. So this one is you take out a section. The last one is the intersection. So we'll just have this middle part. So that's the first one. Second one is the Polygonal Lasso Tool. And what this does is it's basically straight lines. So it goes in straight lines. It's really good if you're having some sort of geometric shape that you want to make. But that's not really going to work for us because it's very curves and lots of different angles and stuff. So that leaves our last one, which is the Magnetic Lasso Tool. Again, I'll just deselect. And what this does is if you go really slowly, there it goes, it'll make an outline based on the pixels that you have selected. So it's pretty accurate. It's pretty good at like kind of grabbing hold of stuff. See how when I'm kind of going off like that, it'll automatically come back down. There might be some mistakes, and that's easy enough to fix a little later on. You can always add an anchor point. All these boxes that you see, those are all anchor points. So if you just click, you can add another one. So you can see it's doing a pretty good job of kind of grabbing hold of what we want selected. Oops, see how I kind of went up? That's okay. We'll fix that a little later. So I'm just going to quickly go around here and pretend that we did a really good job. And see how it's just kind of automatically going. And then when you get to the bottom, or to the end, sorry, you just click on your starting square and something like this should show up. Now you'll notice that there are some issues here, and that's okay. I'll show you how we can clean those up in another, in just a minute here. So I'm just going to deselect this again. So that's the lasso tool. It's pretty handy. It's pretty good. The second object that second tool that we can use is this tool right here. So there are three different tools within this little pop-out. The object selection tool doesn't apply to us. This quick selection and the magic wand might do us some good though. So first of all, let's click on the magic wand. And what this does is when we click, it'll automatically target all the pixels of a kind of a similar color. So again, if I go right here, it's all kind of contained in that one area. There's a lot of colors that are very similar, right? All these kind of blue grays stuff in the background are kind of blending in with his armor. So it's might not be the best tool for us in what we want to do. Again, you can push shift in order to make more selections as you go. So make sure you're doing that. But let's take a look at our quick selection tool rather than the magic wand. So again, I'm going to deselect. And what this one does is it basically kind of acts in a similar way, but it can basically make you can make a selection. What's going on here? Based on the pixels that you select. So I'm not sure why it's not working here for me now, but it should. it should kind of select all the pixels of a similar color, and in order to select stuff. But I'm not sure why it's all selecting the same thing. You can see over here it's selecting something different over here. Anyway, again, not super helpful, but it should be. Well, I'm not sure why it's not working for me better. Yeah. You can also change the size and hardness of your brush in order to maybe make a more detailed selection. So those are the three. For something like this, I would recommend that you use the Lasso Tool and the magnetic Lasso Tool to kind of outline quickly what you want. So let's use this again. I'm just going to quickly get a good chunk of him here. And I'm going to deliberately leave some areas, and I'll try to get Baby Yoda in here as well. And we're, again, like I said, we're just going to leave a bunch of stuff just open. All right, something like that. Good enough. So we have some mistakes, right? We have a whole bunch of stuff kind of open here. And what we're going to do, we're just going to mask this layer. So that means everything but this is going to get deleted. All right, so if I click this little button down here, he's gone. But again, we can still see there's stuff here and it's missing. All this stuff is still there. We just basically put a mask on it so we can't see it anymore. So what we can do to tidy things up is we can use a paintbrush. And this is the really cool part about masking. If you look over on the right hand side here, there's two boxes. The first box is our original image. I'm just going to get rid of that for now so we can see it a little better. First one is our original image, and the second one is our mask. So all the black has become our mask, and the white is what's left. So a good little rhyme to remember is that black conceals and white reveals. Okay, so black conceals, white reveals. So that means if we have this black and white layer, this mask layer selected, with our paintbrush, we can actually paint on here and it'll either reveal or hide. So we have these two colors here. We have black and white in our color swatches. And if you push the letter X, you'll notice that they switch back and forth. So that means if the black is on top, it means we're painting with black. Again, this is our paintbrush here. And if we can paint black, you'll notice that it's actually painting on white, even though it's black. That means is that we're basically erasing using the black color to erase stuff. So it's very useful for getting those fine detailed editings. Right, so if you put this back on, it's not actually white, it's actually erasing what we don't want. And it's the same way if we want, let's say we go, oh crap, I took out a big chunk of his head, we can change to white and actually paint that back in. And you can change the size of your brush. Sometimes it's a good idea to change the hardness of your brush as well. You'll see here it's the hardness, and what that does is it basically makes it soft. See how it's soft or hard, right? See how there's a bit of a nice kind of, it looks soft, right? It's not as such a sharp, crisp image. So it's a good idea to have a little bit of softness in your brush when you're editing stuff out. Just kind of makes it a little easier to look at. So anyway, you get the idea like this. So we're just going to really quickly, again, pushing X to go back and forth. Quickly get this sort of half looking good. And if it does look good already with what we did with our lasso tool, great, that's awesome. Kind of use this as just a guide. All right, I'm happy with this so far. It's a pretty quick and dirty demo, and that's okay. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make him look like he's, First day of school, right? Baby Yoda. There they are. So that's a nice little way to quickly mask different images on your using these masking tools in Photopea. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, we'll see you guys in class.